What's poppin', fam? Welcome to Don't Touch My Mindset, a podcast that is designed to uplift, inspire, and motivate you, and most importantly, share tools to help you protect that mindset. Step in here feeling good. I always feel like I step in here just feeling inspired, feeling happy, grateful, excited. I be excited when I be getting on this mic. What is poppin'? What's poppin'? What's poppin'? Oh, I am your host, Jay Chase, and I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. It's Sunday. It's pivotal moments with special guests. You'll find out soon. Super excited. Coming to you from Canada. There has been some craziness up in Canada this year. If you've been following that, whatever. But I just want to say, hit the follow button, rate, review, subscribe, send this to a friend if you like it, play it again if you like it. Thank you. Please keep rocking with us. If you want to rock deeper with us, hit the show notes, join the community. Love to see you in there. Reach out to me on Instagram at TheJChase or at Don't Touch My Mindset. Go check out the website, don'ttouchmymindset.com. Super happy to have you here and to dive into this episode. I think it's going to bring a lot of value to you. And yeah, why don't we just rock into it? Thank you. Oh, I am super excited and super inspired to be here with my lovely friend Jenna. Jenna is also a sober warrior and just an amazing human being, amazing light to the world, and definitely wanted to shine a light on her. So hello, Jenna. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm so happy to be here, Jay.
Amazing. So I definitely want you to tell everybody, or everybody who listens, who you are, what you do, where you're at, what you're about, girl. Just a little brief intro so we can dive.
Oh, yeah, brief. It might be hard to be brief. But yeah, no, my name's Jenna. I'm 33 years old. What I do, oh my God, I actually I'm starting something new right now. But yeah, no, I did my BA in psychology. I did my master's in counseling. I worked with my family business for quite some time, but I'm in the midst of opening my own little daycare.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm really excited. So yeah, I'm obviously just in the renovation stages right now, but I'm hoping by February. So we'll see.
That's huge. We'll dive into that. I love that. That's awesome. That just shows a display of your heart. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess, man, because I got so many ways to take this because I know absolutely nothing about you. What made you want to get sober?
Oh God, to get sober. Yeah, no, I was at the point where my life had become definitely unmanageable. I say this a lot to my friends because I feel like a lot of people are very curious about it. But the line I crossed into alcoholism was definitely invisible. So that's the thing. And then once I crossed it, I didn't have that control anymore.
I'm so familiar with that because I didn't only cross that line, I jumped over it and then free fell to the bottom. I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Belly flop.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Oh, that's super interesting, and I feel like it takes a pivotal moment to get there. It takes something that we go through. It takes that kind of self-actualization or slap in the face. Damn, something's got to change. And so what I really want to know is what was that pivotal moment for you?
The pivotal moment to change. I definitely have to think, I think definitely it was, the desperation. It was a very, like, I just, like, when I got sober, I had so many things going on. Like, I was in school, I was in a very toxic relationship, and, like, I just, because I think a lot of people who are in that darkness as well, it feels like it's very hard to get out of. And I don't know, I remember standing in my kitchen one day, and it just like, I can't really explain it,
Mm.
but it's like I wanted so much and I was doing nothing, nothing to get closer to that goal. And yeah, from that day forward, I never had a drink.
Wow. Wow. How long ago was that?
Right. I've just celebrated 19 months on Sunday. So yeah,
Mm, that's
yeah,
huge.
it's a good feeling. Yeah, for sure.
How does it feel being in your second year of sobriety? Or is this, yeah, your second, like,
Yeah, my second year.
how's it feel? Because for me, my second year was very different than my first.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the first is a lot of just like learning about like, you know what I mean? It's really just about living.
Mm.
And then I don't tell this to people in early recovery because I do find it discouraging, but it took me a full year to really like come to myself. And once I got the first year of sobriety in, it was like, okay, now it's time to like spread my wings. Um, but it also comes with like so much more exploring, like self exploring and, like inner child work. And it's just such a healing. It's like, I know a lot of people talk about recovery, but for me, it's really just the way of healing.
It's super interesting that you say that because I was talking with my mentor, Pete, and he said, we were talking about recovery and addiction and all this other stuff. And I said, it's not just like handling my addiction, it's not just handling a drink or two or moderating. It is the recovery of life, it's the recovery of self, it's a rediscovery of my life and what I lost during my addiction. So I feel that on a deep level because it's a way to.
Yeah, I had like a run-in with a friend last week, and like he was telling me about how he explained to someone else about like my recovery program. You know what I mean? And it was just like he made it sound like very like that's all we spend our time doing is like how to avoid that drink. And it was alarming for him to understand like I honestly don't really ever think of drinking anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And I think that everyone, in the rooms that I do and I attend, I think they're fit for everyone. Do you know what I
mm,
mean?
mm.
These are the conversations that more people should be having. 100%.
Absolutely, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think I think it's so important to integrate our minds with our hearts and be able to operate from that place of abundance. And with these conversations that we have in sober rooms or in sober topics and things like that, I try to integrate them out more than just that place because it's those conversations of learning thyself and nurturing thyself and loving thyself. And like I said, we've had this exchange a couple days now of just talking about self-love. So let me ask you, what does that bring up?
Self-love, it brings up the journey of it.
Mm,
And and how some days it's definitely easier than others. um but in my sobriety I feel was like the fire, or the gas I should say, and the flame, for my self-love, because I really think that it was like a call, like it brought me back to who I really was,
mm,
all the darkness, you know what I mean? Because you lose yourself along the way, right? So yeah, for me it's an everyday thing, but I notice, that I'm just more solid in who I am, you know, things that used to like throw me off and make me question everything about myself. Like, I don't spend time doing that anymore. I don't spend energy,
Mm,
wasted.
mm. I just came across a description of personal development, and it's a personal development is the belief that you are worth the time, energy, and effort to evolve to the highest version of yourself. And I love that because I never knew what personal development really was when you really like think about it. And then we take the time to do that, especially in our recovery, because we're coming back from well, I am, and I'm gonna speak for me, and I'm sorry, but I come back from a place of complete loss, where I was just completely lost. It's because of the self-love. It's taking that time and energy to make sure that you're worth it. And that's you inspired me deeply with that conversation that we had. So question, and because I didn't even ask you if getting sober was your pivotal moment, or if it was something else, because it doesn't have to, this does not have to be about your recovery. It's about you and your mindset.
I do think that my sobriety was a pivotal moment. But another, like for me, I think the most pivotal moment is like the whole thing about setting like appropriate boundaries for yourself. Like I think that I spent so much time living my life for other people that I didn't really acknowledge, anything that I wanted. And I've been doing a lot of reading lately about codependency, and I had like this revelation. I was just like, oh my God, like I would have never thought myself to be a person that didn't have boundaries, but I really didn't. And it's just nice to, like have healthy boundaries. And yeah, I don't know, like advocating for myself, and that's was really pivotal for me, is like the believing that I'm worth advocating in, if that makes sense.
No, that makes complete sense. I like to put that, and I don't know if this will land at all, but I like to say that these boundaries that I took so much time creating, trusting, and then standing on, because I feel like it's that 3-step process when creating boundaries, because you have to say, all right, what do I not stand for? And then you have to trust yourself and trust that you don't stand for that, and then stand on that boundary of not falling for that. And that's like the hardest thing to
Right.
do. That's like the hardest thing
Mm-hmm.
to do. So I feel that. I would say that was a huge pivotal moment for me when I found out what boundaries were. Um,
All
Lord,
the guilt.
right? Lord knows I never ever respected them, if they were there. But it is, or had any. But it's so interesting, because I feel like boundaries are so, especially with just the time of year with the holidays coming up, is that it's so hard to stand in. What keeps you rooted in your boundaries? How do you stand firm on your boundaries?
Oh, I think it's easy. I just feel like boundaries, like since, now I move towards what feels good. Um, you know what I mean? And if there's any situations or something that happens that doesn't feel good, there's probably something that's like a boundary that's being crossed, or a boundary that's need to be made, and yeah, like I just feel like I don't want to compromise myself anymore.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And I've come up with a little term for that. I call it sitting in your personal power. When you're honoring your
Yes.
energy, honoring your boundaries, you're sitting in your personal power. You ain't gotta move, you ain't gotta stand up for it. You're just sitting in your personal power. And I love that, because you move to what feels good to you. And that's how it should be. We should be attracting, not chasing. If we have to chase, we gotta readjust and pivot from where we are. Um,
Right.
it's
My days
crazy.
of chasing are over.
Yo, I'm telling you, it's so bad. Operating from that place of lack and not abundance.
Yeah,
Ugh.
no, for sure. I
So,
know. But I want to say that it's like it's so easy to to fall back in, it's easy to fall back into that mindset. So that's why I think healing and, having conversations like we do is so helpful. Keeps you focused. And especially the fact that like you could relate, like I don't even need to say much and you're like, oh, yes.
100, yes. And
Yeah.
I truly believe that pain is pain. It all hurts the same. Just because you got cut on your arm and I got cut on my leg does not mean that our pain is any different. So that I want to connect with people. I want to drop in with people. I want to know that they're not alone, because everybody's experienced something, and I'm never going to look at my pain like it outweighs yours, and I wouldn't want anybody to do that to me.
No. And it's funny, like to think that now we look at pain as like a healing opportunity, on like an opportunity to do more work on ourselves, when before, like the first feel of any emotion, like I was just like reaching for a drink, because like I just like, you don't want to feel, so yeah, pain is definitely the best teacher. When I think back, I definitely think that, some of the most painful days are what taught me the most, for sure.
Absolutely. I believe there's 4 stages of healing. I don't know if you've ever heard me
Let's hear them.
say this cycle, but the first stage is awareness. Pain is the catalyst to growth. So that is your initiation. When you feel that pain, you're aware of that pain, you're like, all right, growth is around the corner. And when you can acknowledge that and say, I feel like this is okay, let's move past it, or let it pass through me. That's stage 1. Stage 2 is not the rediscovery, but the crawling phase of that. I'm learning, I understand that I've been hurt. I know that there's a better way of living. I just don't really know what's out there or how to do it. I like to place myself in my first year of sobriety, in that stage of like, oh, I want to be a good person, but I really don't know how, and I need to know a way to do it. And that's stage 2. Stage 3 is my favorite. It's the rediscovery. It's the rediscovery of self, of who I am and why I'm here, why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I'm healing, why I'm going through the things, and my purpose here on earth. It's that rediscovery, because I feel like when we go through that pain, our mind gets clouded and we don't remember our whys. And that hurts me deep down in my core, because when I get off track, I'm so goal oriented that I get off track, and it's so bad. And then there's the 4th stage, which is the soaring phase. You reclaim your wings, you sit in your personal power, you stand up and you can soar and say that I'm actively healing. Now, the beautiful thing about this is that it never ends. There's no destination, it just restarts.
Yeah, I feel that. It definitely restarts, but I really like, that's a good way to put it, for sure. I like that.
Don't you worry about it. It is, no, it's just something I've learned, and I look at it because I always think that we're always healing, and it's so detrimental. So I have a question, since we're talking about healing. What does healing look like to you?
It makes me think of a quote. Oh, God. It makes me think of that. I don't know it word for word, but the thing as like, heal your wounds so you don't bleed on other people.
I haven't even heard that, but that's good. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing. I think that when I first got sober, I was really had my finger pointed at everyone, like how it wasn't me. And I think healing for me is being accountable for your actions, your behaviors, and like learning to do better. And, accepting that sometimes there's going to be events, where these wounds are gonna, because they, I don't think they ever really do go away. They're, they close up, but there's still, things I could touch, and you can go through things and these wounds come back up, but it's the tools to like respond versus react. just so much healing. How can I need 2 hours to talk about what healing means to me?
I told you we got it if you want it. Oh, that's so beautiful because I often think of when I think of healing, I think of scars. Scars heal up and they close, and we can't reopen them. But they're there. We know they're there. We see them. Like I have scars all over me, and I'm like, yo, but I've
They
healed from
tell a
them.
story.
Yes. It's so funny. I have 5 tattoos, and they're all on my core, so they're covered up unless like I choose to show them. And but it's so funny. I've gotten all of my tattoos after something traumatic or painful has happened to me, and
Me too.
I would tattoo myself to see myself heal. And like center
That's
myself
awesome.
in that,
Yeah.
and just like knowing like once like it hurts now, but it's gonna be beautiful once it's done. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really kept me grounded in a lot of my healing. Um, so that you bring up so much for me. So thank you. I love that insightful conversations. Um, who is Jenna? Without the labels, without the titles, strip away the sobriety. Who are you and why are you here?
Wow, that's a deep one, Jay. Who is Jenna? Jenna is definitely a person full of compassion and caring. She's hardworking and dedicated and ambitious and, respectful. It's hard. And what was the other part of the question? Who is Jenna and
Why are you here?
why am I here? I always knew I was here. Like I always felt like I was here to sorry, my dog's barking. I was here to, help people. And it's funny because that's like the main reason I went into counseling, right? Um, but I don't know. I don't know if I feel like now I want to help people and do it from like a different place in my soul. I don't necessarily want to be in practice, maybe in the future. But, even like just the service part of recovery, and just being there for my people. That gives me purpose because I have a lot of good people in my life. So yeah.
You have such a beautiful heart, and I feel that all the way over here in America. I love that. So that's really good. I like to ask that question because it really it makes me think. It reminds me that I exist to lead with generosity and unconditional love and follow with care and understanding. And it helps me stay centered and grounded. And why I do the things that I do, why I do the podcast, why I reach out to people, help people, offer the coaching that I do, or even why I sell cars. It is so detrimental to me to remember who I am and why I'm here. And so I always find that interesting when I pose that question to other people, and you know yourself.
Yeah. And I love how you said the thing without the titles, because I think I struggled with that for a very long time. Like my family, they're all like pretty well off, kind of. And then like there was always that like pressure of like, what title is Jenna gonna hold? And when I was when I was practicing, I had the title and I was just empty to the core. So I think it's really important that you brought that up and, beyond the title, because I really don't think there's anything in the titles.
Exactly. Society has placed so many titles on me, and I was like, okay, let's remove that because they're bad titles.
Mm-hmm.
They're not good titles. I don't have no good titles. What good titles do I got? But it's like let's move past that. Let's zoom out. Who am
Mm-hmm.
I? It took some deep work. It took some deep work, man. I'll be 5 years sober February 5th, and
So amazing.
it's been truly a journey. Thank you. It's so interesting because people ask me all the time, "Would you go back to drinking?" And I was like, I like my life the way it is now.
Right. I love when people ask, like, "Are you sure you just don't want one this time?"
All right, I'm like, no, and I'm good. No,
Yeah.
my favorite go-to is they're like, "Jay, you drinking?" I was like, "If you want this place to burn down, then yeah, sure, let's drink." You want to have a shitty night?
Yeah,
Let's go.
you guys can't party like I do.
So I love that. So I had a question on the forefront of my mind. Yes. So now that we know where you are, you know what you do, what your plans are, where you're going, that pivotal moment in your life, what you've been through. Not really know what you've been through, but kinda. But then we know who you are and why you exist. My question is, what is your mindset now from where it was, and how are you going to use that? What is your mindset now, and how are you going to use that?
My mindset, I think that's the biggest change. And it's so funny because you know, having done my master's and my BA in psychology, you read so much about how the mind works, you know. But it all comes back to like practicing what you preach, you know. It's not that easy to practice. And you know, you kind of forget that your brain is like a muscle and you could flex it how you want, right? But my mindset, like I will say this openly, I was, you know, I was contemplating suicide at one point because I thought that was going to be, you know, the easier option. And like, I'll come back to what I say to most people because it's really hard, you know, and I'm sure you have this as well, people who reach out for help, you know, but like nobody is gonna scrape you up off that floor but yourself, right? And I think it all comes back to tiny acts every day, you know. It doesn't come in leaps and bounds, but it's about like never giving up. And mindset is everything, right? um
100%.
it's like your windshield, like you got to clean the windshield before you could see.
Mm,
So it's like all the years of, you know, getting that shit off your windshield.
you're so right. Mm,
Hmm.
no, mindset is your windshield. You got to clean that windshield, keep it clear. Absolutely. Um, I want to buy that from you. So.
I probably read it somewhere, so I can't claim it.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
No, I truly believe that mindset is everything. Life's 100% mindset. There was a time when I thought life was 99% mindset, and then I figured it out. No, but
Yeah.
it is about how you approach a situation versus what the situation is, no matter what, no matter what it is. When my father passed away, it was about how I approached that situation to be the man that I needed to be at that moment, and then to be able to grieve with that later. But it was a mindset that I had to tap into. It wasn't like a like stoic or like I have no emotions. It was just like I gotta hold this shit together right now, and then I can grieve. And it's the complete like emotional containment of that, not letting your emotions feed into your mindset on that, which we should integrate our mind and our hearts. And I'm just going off on a tangent. I'm sorry, but
No, that's good.
but that.
The emotional containment. I think that's what, you know, is the hardest thing. Um, you know, because before, like when I was going through emotions, it was like the type of thing that like your whole day, week was screwed. Like, you know what I mean? I just didn't know what to do with all these feelings. And I remember someone very early off telling me, like, you know, it's okay to feel, Jenna. Like, and like it sounds really stupid, but I was like, oh, like really? Okay. Like, but yeah, it's just like the containing it and like you said, you know, still being able to show up even though you're going through what you're going through.
I'm 100% super proud of you, and and super impressed with you of how strong you are and how you show up, just from getting to know you, and hat off to you, beanie off to you, because that's a superpower, being able to show up. I tell people all the time, 80% is showing up. That's the hardest part of it, is being there, mentally, physically, emotionally. Showing up's the hardest part. Going through the actions, you can drag yourself through the actions. You can, whatever it may be, but showing
Yeah.
up. You impress me. I just want to give you your flowers on that.
I'll make sure to keep them watered.
I love it. So as I run out of questions, I have a question for you. Because this is an interview for you, about you, and all up in your mind. What would you say your most impactful lesson out of life has been so far?
Ooh.
So far.
So far. My biggest lesson is definitely to always put yourself first, no matter what. Yeah, that's my biggest lesson. For too long, I had definitely put just about anyone before myself, and I think that is definitely how I lost myself along the way. Like you hear the thing they say when the people ask you what you love, how long would it take you to put yourself on the list? Good reminder. I put myself first now.
You have to. I believe the most important relationship that we could ever have in our life is our relationship with our future self. And that's being very in tune with who you are now and putting yourself first now, because creating your future starts now. Starts with the habits that you do today. If you do the habits that you did yesterday, you're probably going to turn out to be the person that you were yesterday. And
Definitely.
Yeah. And it's just how I think, and that's so important to put yourself first. That's something that I had to grasp in my sobriety, because I did it in a selfish way when I was deep into my addiction. But as I matured in my sobriety and my recovery, it was like I'm putting myself first in a loving way, and that
Yeah, the loving way.
that is so important. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just like how you talked about like the selfishness, like before you got sober, like we put ourselves first in order to get what we wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're like, what can I do for you? I have all this
Right?
guilt in me for putting myself first. I just want to help you.
Yeah, I got all this love to give.
Love it. Oh man. Well, takeaway from the conversation. Do you have one? What did you enjoy most about sharing your story and this experience of just chatting with me in the podcast?
I think I wanted to chat with you because I think we need to get the message out there. You know what I mean? And the more time we spend having conversations like this, the more chances that more people might have these conversations. And I think I just want to come back to the whole thing that, the stigma around sobriety, and, people already have these preconceived notions of what we are and what we do. And, it's not, the alcohol is but a symptom, and it's so much more about the healing. So yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that, because the pain was so much deeper for me, even as I still uncover it and go deeper, as I still peel back these layers. I could say it was the abandonment issues, it was the lack of love, it was the father figure, it was this, it was that, and it's so deep. But that's why the healing cycle always continues. And I'm so grateful to have people like you, who are on a similar journey, like-minded. and things like that. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you being vulnerable. I appreciate you showing your heart. I appreciate you showing up. I appreciate you being here and opening up with the audience and the podcast and me. Like I said, I'd love to co-create with you in the future. So thank you.
Yeah, we should definitely be fun. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to stop.